Hello and welcome! Today I wanted to take a look at the perk challenges for all of the red perks. Already made a video talking about which ones are most useful, but now we're going to look at the challenges for them. Some are no problem and don't warrant talking about, but there are a couple that would take a really long time if you aren't using a specific strategy. Namely, Juggernaut I got done really quickly, and the Sleight of Hand challenge is really confusing. It doesn't seem to work properly. So starting at the bottom, what I will consider the basic challenge here, the one that I don't need to talk about, is Stopping Power, 500 kills with it, and that should be no problem because it isn't exactly a pain to be using Stopping Power. We all have different preferences, and I do understand that all the red perks have a niche where they are useful. However, most of the time I would prefer to be using Stopping Power, which is why that challenge doesn't need to be rushed, and also why I think it's a good thing to come up with strategies to be done with these other challenges as quickly as possible. So let's get to this one, Juggernaut, because I did say I had a quick way to complete this one, and that was no lie. Of course, if you love using Juggernaut, then maybe this strategy to make it go faster doesn't matter to you by the same logic as before, but personally, I'd like to be done with it and get back to using Stopping Power. Alright.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
You need to get 100 kills near death, screen flashing red, supposedly. That could take a really long time using Juggernaut. Over time, yeah, you'll get lucky and be in a gunfight where you're injured quite a bit and you get a kill that way, but surely there must be a quicker way. Let's ask the big two challenge hunting questions. Is this easier in hardcore, and is this easier on shipment? Well, I guess nearly everything is easier on shipment because of how quickly things happen, but it isn't especially easier on shipment, like with how much easier multi-kills are. What about hardcore? Well, the health being lowered to 30 doesn't really help with this challenge. In fact, that element alone makes it much harder because most people will melt you in 1 or 2 bullets, and that lower health is usually the main reason to go to hardcore for a challenge. But hardcore is actually the key to making this very easy because of the lack of health regeneration. So here is the super easy strategy. Because you will not regenerate, just take a bit of fall damage until your screen looks a certain way. I'll tell you exactly what to look for. We'll be using the blood on your screen as an indicator to judge when you have taken enough damage. After taking a tiny bit of damage, you may start to see a little peanut-shaped bit of blood on the top rightish of your screen and one little blob to the left of it. At this level of damage, it is very transparent, and that is not enough damage for the challenge. Take a bit more damage, and now you'll see these 4 main dots on the top of your screen more visible now, but that is also not enough. As you can see when I get this kill, I do not get the near-death kill medal, and that medal is the one you should be looking for. If you earn that medal with Juggernaut on, that should be your confirmation that you are indeed earning the challenge. So taking just a little bit more damage, and this level actually looks about the same. The only difference is that the blood is a bit more opaque or a bit more solid and visible, and I think there's that tiny 5th dot in the top middle of the screen. Anyway, this is enough damage to be earning the near-death kill medal and completing the challenge, as I will demonstrate running around here. So the challenge description kinda lied. You don't need the screen to be flashing red near death to earn the challenge. Of course, if you take more damage than what I just showed you right there, that's okay too. If your screen is actually fully red and you get the heavy breathing and all that, of course that's guaranteed to count, but it's also distracting and annoying to have all that on your screen since it never goes away in hardcore. The fact that you can be considered near death for this challenge without actually having a flashing red screen is pretty cool, I think. Of course, you are going to be running around 1 shot away from death, but in hardcore, most people are always 1 shot away from death. Just use any good hardcore weapon so you can win gunfights no problem. I was using my time in hardcore effectively here, getting my headshots with the saw for easy camos, tying everything together to be as efficient as possible because I'm not a huge hardcore fan. And if you die after setting up your health just the way you want it, it's really no big deal. There isn't much setup involved. It's really easy to take some fall damage on pretty much every map in the game. It might be hard on Bog or something, but on most maps there's no problem just jumping off something. Like at the start of Ambush here, all I had to do was run up the side of these stairs and that's plenty of damage taken. Over time you'll get more and more used to how far you need to fall to take the right amount of damage and not die. So that is how you can make this challenge fly by. I actually went on a 15 kill streak right here, with every single kill being a near-death kill and counting towards that challenge. Using this method basically changes the challenge from get 100 kills in a hard-to-control and somewhat uncommon situation into get 100 kills in hardcore mode. Yeah, I think just getting 100 kills in hardcore is a great way to knock out this challenge, if you're like me and would rather be using a different perk instead of Juggernaut. If you love Juggernaut, then again, maybe all that doesn't matter to you. But alright, that may be the biggest strategy, but let's go through all the red perks. The double tap challenge was kind of mentioned in the previous video. It does take a while to do because not that many people use Last Stand. The way I recommended completing that one was making a class with double tap and Last Stand so that you can switch to that class when you see somebody on the other team is using Last Stand. Then you're also working towards the Last Stand challenge, Double Down, because I'd rather not be using double tap and Last Stand all the time, just hoping for the best if nobody on the other team is even using Last Stand. Up next, UAV Jammer is a pretty good perk in general. You need 250 kills while enemy UAVs are up, and it is also one I would be using in hardcore just because it's a great perk in hardcore. You don't need stopping power and Juggernaut as much, so of course staying off the radar when a UAV gets called in is a great thing to have. You won't be completing the challenge any faster in hardcore or anything, but it's kind of like after you're done with the Juggernaut one, you might as well just work on this challenge while you're playing hardcore. If you're in there for the hardcore game mode challenges, or you're in there to get easier headshots for some weapons, or maybe you just like hardcore. I think hardcore UAV Jammer is a great idea. Overkill doesn't require much to be said, not that I love using Overkill, but I don't think there's any way around doing it, you just have to do it. Thankfully, it only requires secondary weapon kills, not a kill with your primary and secondary and one life, like many other Overkill challenges in the past. So you can make a class like this where your primary weapon doesn't matter at all, because as soon as you spawn in, you just switch to your secondary and use that gun that you actually want to use. Sonic Boom is kind of like stopping power in that I never had to worry about it. Sonic Boom has its niche for sure, and that niche is obvious. Shipment, Frag times 3, Martyrdom, Shenanigans would not be complete without it, so you're bound to complete Boom Goes the Dynamite here while working towards the other equipment multi-kill challenges mentioned in the previous video. Finally, there are some things to talk about with Slightly Faster, the Sleight of Hand challenge. I definitely recommend approaching this one with a strategy if you'd rather not be using Sleight of Hand for a very long time. But there is a lot more to this challenge than meets the eye. It's really confusing, maybe a bit broken even. Let's just read what it says first. Alright, supposedly you need to kill an enemy, reload, and kill another enemy all within 3 seconds. That is harder than I originally thought. The first time I misread this, I was just kill an enemy within 3 seconds of reloading, so I thought you could walk around the map with a half-reloaded gun, and as soon as you see somebody, reload and get the kill. But no, not that easy. You need a bit of a double kill situation. So, alright, there is normally some luck involved in that, but if you want to remove the luck from the equation, I think you already know what's coming. Thinking back to the two main questions, hardcore, shipment? Yeah, it's gotta be shipment. You want people to be very tightly packed. You also want a weapon that reloads really quickly, so things like the RPD and the M60, even though they aren't too bad with Sleight of Hand, you literally cannot complete the challenge with them because even after you half the reload time, they're still not going to be under 3 seconds, so throw out the LMGs. The assault rifles and SMGs are all fairly quick, the pistols are even faster, but the obvious choice for a quick reload and double kill would have to be a shotgun, for sure. They're quick to kill and crazy quick to reload, and they're a great choice for shipment as well. They really go together. Even though Sonic Boom is life on shipment, you might want to take a break from it and go for this challenge. A shotgun on shipment seems like the perfect storm for getting it done. I can't think of any better way in theory, and I guess I've been saying a shotgun, but I should add the M1014 would be even easier because the Winchester, there's that extra pump animation after every reload. You can try to cancel it, but that's another layer of complexity and another thing that takes more time. Meanwhile, the M1014 is going to be quick every time. You can see all of these examples of what would look like a shotgun kill, a quick reload, and another shotgun kill. At this pace, I felt like I should be getting the challenge done in just a few shipment games, and then I could go back to Sonic Boom, insert evil laugh. But wait, all that advice was me thinking up the best way to complete the challenge based on the challenge description they gave us, and I'm glad I went to earn the challenge myself before preaching about how to do it and how easy it is, because this challenge seems to be all kinds of broken. After every game where I thought I got a ton of them in, maybe like 5 to 8 really good examples and then a few more maybes of how I thought you're supposed to do it, get a kill, reload, get another kill within 3 seconds, after the game, I always seem to end up with one more kill, counting towards the challenge. Only one. No more, no less. I never used my pistol, and I'm quite sure I never reloaded the shotgun from completely empty, meaning all 4 shells. So as far as I could tell, the shotgun strategy can work, even if I'm only reloading 1 or 2 shells, but it wasn't working nearly enough. For some reason, it wasn't being consistent. I really didn't know why only one was counting. So I went back to test with other weapons because I needed to know if I should still be recommending shotguns. Next I tried it with the 74U, got a ton of what I thought were excellent examples of doing the challenge, kill, reload, kill, and yet only one counted towards the challenge again. I thought for a while that the challenge was just broken and I could only get one per game for some reason. My next test was to just go into a game, get one example of what I felt should count, and then switch off of Sleight of Hand entirely so that I could see if that worked, just one, and study what about it worked, because I would know the one that worked. I got it done pretty early in the game, got a kill, reloaded, got another kill, fairly quickly, only one time, and then I got rid of Sleight of Hand and played out the rest of the game. Sure enough, it counted that one. I checked and it gave me one more towards the challenge. Something about this example was done just right, and yet it felt like what I had been doing a dozen times every time I play on shipment. So I was pretty confident at that point that I had it all figured out, that the challenge was just broken, and somehow it was only giving you one per game no matter how many times you do it. But then, I had a game on shipment again with the 74U, where I got 4 to count towards the challenge. I started at 8 out of 10, and there's the one where the challenge popped up for it, so I thought, wow, that means I got 2 in this game. And I ended at 12. So I had to throw away that theory about it being completely broken, and now I really just don't know. I did more testing, I went back with the G36, started at 12 on the challenge, and played through an entire game going for it. I thought I did it a few times, and I looked through the entire game to find the best example that I could. Look at this one. I get a kill, I reload, and I get another kill, easily under 3 seconds. At the end of that game, 0 counted. 0. Not the example I showed, and not any of the other times I thought I might have gotten one. At this point I'm thinking, well, I probably shouldn't recommend shotguns since I could only ever get 1 with them. Meanwhile, I did get 4 in one game with an SMG, but the shotguns were so good in theory that I went back for another full game with the M1014, and I got 3 to count towards the challenge that time. Since then, I've been doing game after game with SMGs, and oftentimes I know for a fact that I had at least 3 perfect examples, and a ton of times that I thought I might have been fast enough, but only 1 counts, again, and it's very annoying, so maybe shotguns are a good idea after all. It's just so damn confusing. I'm sorry I don't have a better grasp on what's going on here. The problem is, it isn't easy to test, because I can't very well take it into a private match and carefully test every case, because I need it to be counting towards the challenge to know if it worked, and therefore I need it to be in a public match. There is no medal that goes along with the challenge, like with the near-death kill. So I wish I knew more and could tell you more, because I'm just curious why sometimes it counts and sometimes it doesn't. I timed these out and they clearly seem to be under 3 seconds. If you know anything, if you have anything to add to the conversation, please do. That's why I figured I'd go ahead and explain my full experience with this challenge and dump all my testing out there. Anyway, that said, I think I do know enough to talk about at least completing the challenge without too much difficulty, even if we don't fully understand it. First, shipment is still a great idea. That hasn't changed at all. As far as what gun to pick, I'll probably still be using a shotgun because I use shotguns on shipment anyway, and now that I have proven they can work, they do seem like the best idea in theory. It seems like every gun is equally inconsistent and usually only gets 1 per game. Like I got this quad kill right here where I get a kill and reload quickly 4 times in a row. In my perfect world, that would count as 4 kills, and I went on to get 70 kills in that game with a ton more examples of what I thought should work, but only 1 counted, of course. So, I don't know. You can also pick an SMG that you like. They mostly have decent reload times, and just go for it. Just be as fast as you can. I like SMGs over assault rifles because of the better hipfire and handling properties that usually makes getting quick kills much easier than aiming with an assault rifle, even though they also have good reload times. Looking at the gameplay though, I put an attachment on my 74U, which makes it have the same hipfire spread as an assault rifle, so that was dumb. If you don't know, putting a red dot or a suppressor on the 74U makes it have the same hipfire accuracy as an assault rifle. Random fact. Steady aim might be a helpful perk for this challenge as well. Anyway, thankfully you only need 50, so with time, as annoying as it can be, you should get that done. Alright, with that confusing end, there are the red tier 2 perk challenges, although it was mainly the Juggernaut strategy and the Sleight of Hand strategy plus confusion that really needed to be talked about. Hopefully the plans I came up with will help you get through those 2 faster, have fun breaking your own legs in hardcore mode, and shredding people with a shotgun on shipment. Thanks for watching, I will catch you next time.